Tonight, on Legislative Review. A push to reduce community violence. And a bill aimed at supporting homeless Native American college students. Plus, energy efficiency compliance for buildings. All that coming up on Legislative Review. Welcome to Legislative Review, your source for daily highlights in the state legislature. I'm Angela Nolasco.
I'd like to call the committee to order. Welcome to the February 20th Senate Health and Long-Term Care Committee.
A bill making its way through the Senate is seeking to reduce community violence in Washington. Senate Bill 5273, heard by the Senate Health and Long-Term Care Committee Thursday, aims to expand funding for violence prevention and intervention programs across the state. These programs will work with hospitals like Harborview Medical Center and community organizations, and offer critical support to youth and adults who have been injured in violent incidents or are at risk of becoming victims of violence. The goal, according to the bill, is to break the cycle with strategies that are trauma-informed and culturally responsive. To do this, the Healthcare Authority would manage funding for at least 4 programs on both sides of the Cascades and allow Medicaid to secure federal funding for violence intervention services. Clients, especially those in communities struggling with high rates of gun violence, could then be referred by healthcare providers to get the help they need. The bill would also require training for community violence professionals, such as mentors, violence interrupters, and other specialists to provide services like crisis intervention and peer support. Democratic Senator Tina Orwell sponsored the bill.
In Washington, someone is killed by a gun every 10 hours. The bill before you has 3 components. One, it's to try to expand the number of programs in our state and making sure they're on, both in Eastern and Western Washington. It starts off by the state dollars, and then it has our healthcare authority really see how do we add this to our state plan and what do the billing models look like. And the third component is really the training. We want to make sure, probably, Department of Health working with Harborview, that we're really establishing a training program for these violence intervention specialists.
Advocates believe it would help address the root causes of community violence by applying more comprehensive violence prevention strategies. William Hairston of the Center for Children and Youth Justice.
Community violence has been recognized as a public health crisis, and recent studies show that coordinated community and system-based collaborations through a public health lens have significant benefits. These approaches are equitable, more efficient, and substantially more cost-effective.
Dominic Davis of Community Passageways, a nonprofit dedicated to preventing youth incarceration, shared his support for the bill.
We are consistently putting ourselves in harm's way, answering to the call of gunshot victims and families on a regular basis. Usually law enforcement will ping us, and our critical incident response team will end up in the spaces where those shootings are happening. This work, it works in the shadows. We're in the dark. Like, people don't see us. All the things we do in the middle of the night when y'all are sleeping, right? We are out here doing this work and putting this work in on a regular basis, and I think it's time for us to be able to feel secure in our and knowing that we are going to be able to continue doing this work for the community, and the community needs to feel secure that they can get the services they need from this work.
No one testified to oppose Senate Bill 5273, which also received strong support from King County Public Health, Harborview Medical Center, and students from Lake Washington High School. If enacted, all community violence professionals must be fully trained according to the new standards set by the State Department of Health by 2027.
The House will be in order. The clerk will call the roll.
From the Senate, we move to the House, where state representatives gathered on the floor to debate several bills. Among them, House Bill 1540, which aims to help support Native American students facing homelessness. The bill proposes to expand the state's so-called Students Experiencing Homelessness program to include Washington's tribal colleges. The program currently supports homeless students and those aged out of foster care by providing essential services like housing assistance, meal programs, and technology. Since it's already being implemented in community colleges and public universities across the state, some lawmakers are considering making students at tribal colleges, such as Northwest Indian College, benefit from the same program. Proponents say data shows that Native American students have some of the highest rates of housing and food insecurity. They claim it's already helped nearly 12,000 students over the past 5 years, and that the expansion of the program could offer more students the resources they need to stay in school and finish their degrees. Democratic Representative Joe Timmons sponsored the bill.
Basic needs insecurity is impacting students at our post-secondary institutions around the state. This includes housing insecurity and food insecurity, and students unfortunately experiencing homelessness. And we know that this has a disproportionate impact on students of color and Native American students. This will make a tremendous impact for students in my district, for students, particularly Native American students that attend Northwest Indian College, and I urge your support. Thank you.
Speaking to oppose the bill, Republican Representative Travis Couture.
We're in a big crisis in this state, Mr. Speaker. We have some of the highest, unfortunately, the highest metrics for unaffordability in the entire nation. Some of the highest costs for gas, groceries, and rent. And we are putting kids into four-year institutions and saddling them with more debt, and then asking the state of Washington to pay for more programs in a time, Mr. Speaker, when we are facing a $10 billion plus budget deficit.
The question before the House is final passage of House Bill 1540.
The House took a floor vote.
The Speaker has started the roll call machine.
Mr. Speaker, there are 62 yeas, 33 nays, 3 excused.
Having received a constitutional majority, House Bill 1540 is declared passed.
The bill passed and now heads to the Senate for consideration.
House Bill 1543. The clerk will read.
The House went on to debate proposed legislation concerning energy efficiency compliance in commercial buildings. Right now, owners of commercial buildings have to meet strict energy use targets to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. House Bill 1543 aims to increase compliance pathways for large buildings under the state's Clean Buildings Performance Standard and allow the Department of Commerce to offer alternative metrics for compliance, making it easier for building owners to meet their targets without compromising the state's overall goal of reducing emissions. Under the bill, penalties for non-compliance will be prevented from being passed on to tenants, so renters won't bear the burden if a building doesn't meet energy standards. Gas and electric utilities will also be required to provide energy data to all covered buildings to help them track and improve their energy use. The bill's prime sponsor, Democratic Representative Beth Dolio, shared how it could benefit building owners while staying on track with the state's climate goals.
Looking at some alternative compliance pathways, looking at extensions and exemptions, and allowing Commerce to kind of shape and mold the program to ensure that our building owners, both public and private, can comply, can see the savings from the efficiencies that we're making our buildings over time.
Also speaking to support the bill, Republican Representative Mary Dye.
When we engage our stakeholders in the process, we can see human innovation and creativity take place. There's so much more that can be done in our in integrating alternatives to achieving the same goal and reducing energy load in our buildings. That's a win-win for all of us because it frees up those electrons for higher and better use.
The House voted on the bill.
Having received a constitutional majority, substitute House Bill 1543 is declared passed.
It passed unanimously and now heads to the Senate. House Bill 1543 also gained the support of public and private building owners, who say it would give them flexibility, especially as compliance deadlines approach in June 2026. That's it for today's highlights on the state legislature. Stay up to date by watching Legislative Review every night at 8 and 11 p.m. and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you then.